So buying property from a distressed estate, all this basically means is that the seller in this estate, for some reason or another, has failed to maintain the property or at least to pay the bank any loan repayments that are due. So buying property as an investor from a distressed estate is obviously has an upside to the investor in that they're able to better negotiate prices, as an example, and works for the actual seller or the owner, because in those circumstances they may need some sort of financial injection in order to get them out of this financial debt. So for property investors, it's something that happens very often. Unfortunately, not a lot of people do their due diligence before making the offer, or at least provide a period of due diligence whilst, like a suspensive condition, for the purposes of this due diligence. Now, when I refer to due diligence in these circumstances, what do I mean? Is it the condition of the house? Yeah, no, naturally, because the condition of the house is also something that should be borne in mind with every sale, but particularly with houses that are distressed, because there's almost a guarantee that the property hasn't been maintained in a particularly good condition. But part of the due diligence also where the bank is, because the bank has the mortgage secured in its favor in order to collect any outstanding debt. So one needs to always double check, where is the bank in this process? Because if the bank is very close to an auction, as an example, the bank is very unlikely to pull the auction and agree to a sale taking place without receiving some form of payment, almost as security or as a guarantee that this sale is going to go ahead. Because in the past, what used to happen with investors, especially the cheeky investors and the cheeky owners, in fact, is they used to receive offers, but they weren't real offers. And these offers were for a great price, but there was no deposit payable. And they used to run to the bank and say, look, somebody's willing to buy my property. You're going to get all your money back at once. But the reality is this was the brother-in-law, as an example, right? And it used to happen very often. It was a shelf company that was like removed three times from this person. And then we used to get the other scenarios, for example, where a property investor, not 100% serious, but he liked the idea, kind of got a good price from it, but maybe he had something better, or was going to look for someone else in order to sell the property onto them. He used to go out, make an offer, which was acceptable, but there was no intention of actually binding himself to this offer. So at some point or another, it was almost guaranteed that he was going to pull out of this deal. So the banks obviously got wind of this and realized we need proper commitment, we need skin in the game. So the banks require payment to be made, and normally this is the arrear amount that is outstanding. So this is the accumulation of all the repayments that have been missed. That's the arrear amount, not the outstanding bond. Outstanding bond is the full amount due to the bank. The arrear amount is just the payments that have been missed. So first of all, you need to find out where you are in this process, because if you're going in with an offer at 100% loan, you're not going to be able to stop the auction from taking place unless you put that cash down and give it to the bank. So all of this should be taken into account in the calculation. Another thing, for example, in this instance, there was a mandate signed for an easy sell or quick sell. Every bank has it. And all this basically means is the banks afford this opportunity to owners to dispose of the properties in circumstances that might be better than a sale and execution, certainly avoid the additional cost of a sale and execution. So it's still almost a forced sale to a certain degree, except it's voluntary, where the seller actually agrees that somebody market the property, marketed for a specific price, and that it be sold. And he accepts this as an outcome. And when the money comes in, it goes straight to the bank. And there's definitely upsides to this, because you find that some of the banks incentivize the sale of these easy sales or quick sales by offering a discount on any arrears or any shortfalls. So if the property sells for $1 million, but the bank was due 1.2 million, there's a difference of 200,000. Some banks would even discount this or offer a payment plan towards it. So there's definitely a lot of incentive for a seller to sign it, making your life as a purchaser difficult, because if the seller signs it and he knows he's going to get that upside, and there's a competing offer. Now it's your offer and their offer. And that's all good and well, provided that these offers haven't been accepted. Unfortunately, in real life, you start having the conversations over, but which offer is actually enforceable? Was it the one that was signed first? What about the mandate? Because if they signed a mandate where the seller wasn't permitted to sell the property and sold it nonetheless, there's the question over that and the seller's authority to be able to sell the property, and whether you can still enforce that sale, which I am of the opinion that you can, and you can enforce the sale, provided that any offer subsequently made provided that there isn't a competing offer that was accepted before yours. And that's sometimes the risk, is they accept your offer, but it turns out that somebody made an offer beforehand or was accepted beforehand and something just delayed there, and no one ever bothered to cancel that. So there is an element of due diligence that's very, very important. I'd always find out this information. I'd always have clear warranties in the contract to say that there are no other pending offers, that no agent is under mandate to sell this property other than the agent that brokered this deal, just to clarify certain things, and definitely giving you authority to be able to communicate with the bank, or at least being involved in the communication with the bank in order to ascertain where everyone is in the foreclosure process.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Bruno.
Cool.
And that brings us to the end of PLA for the day. Thank you so much.